Hello, welcome to another Tweedy Outdoors video. I'm afraid this is just another one of me sitting in my local woods cooking dinner. So if that's not your sort of thing, then at some point in the near future there'll be another wild campy type video. If I'm entirely honest, I've been a tad down in the dumps since I came back from Dartmoor. Not least because I managed to pick up a bleeding tick while I was there, and that always causes a bout of hypochondria. Oh look, bluebells are flowering, which is a good segue. I don't want to moan about my ailments from my strange pastime of sleeping out on the moor or in the woods or whatever. Yes, it felt like today I really ought to make an effort to get out. It's almost a week, I think, since I was on Dartmoor. I thought I really need to make an effort and actually get outside, having mostly just sat indoors the last few days. And the weather has turned after a few days of wind and rain and all the rest, and it feels like spring has sprung. The first bluebells are unfurling, and perhaps this is a good time to come out and cook dinner in the woods. Ever seen a mossy trainer before? So yes, like most people, when I'm feeling ever so slightly down in the dumps, I do the sensible thing and come and sit in a muddy ditch and cook a risotto. So I'm going to do a risotto primavera. That's the sort of spring risotto, and the English asparagus has just come into season, so my local I saw you coming greengrocer has charged me an absolutely exorbitant amount for that bunch of English asparagus. And I've got some broad beans and some peas, so it's sort of green things, plus a shallot, to get the whole thing started. So what do we need to do first? Oh, I'm probably going to make a kind of stock, because I think the don't really have a good way of washing. give it a splash in the muddy ditch. So I'm going to use the billy can to make a sort of stock with the so also give these a little bit of pre-cooking, just a minute or two, they don't need long, and the broad beans and the peas I guess can go in later. So I'll get on with that first. You know, where the woody bit is, you probably don't want to eat that, so the rest you do. I might actually snap them slightly shorter because they're not going to fit in the billy can like that, are they? The other thing, I've got these broad beans. To be honest, this is the one vegetable I prefer frozen, and that's probably sacrilege to say so, but that was just seem a bit, you know, end up shriveled up whenever they're fresh. But yeah, it's not the best looking broad bean in the world, but I'll stick a few of those in just for effect. Here I am from the other side, shelling broad beans. This is great footage, isn't it? Did have a few of those broad beans left, but I'm bored of that now. A slight accident befell me on the way here, and I didn't quite put the lid on this water bottle on properly, so some of that water has tipped out into my bag. I'm going to actually be a bit short of water now, because that's all I've got with me. So well, for what it's worth, it's probably all I could fit in the billy can anyway. This water will both be what I'm cooking the vegetables in, and the stock for my risotto. How's that for an appalling camera angle? I've just propped the GoPro up in my GoPro up in my shoe, boots I should say. You can probably see. Got a shallot. Gonna give that a bit of a chop. Clumsily and awkwardly, because that's the way it always looks with big fat knife. So shallots, rather than onions, they really ought to be much more finely cooked than finely cut, sorry, than this. Find that the stream dripping over the log there quite appealing. I don't know if you can see that. that's coming along. The billy full of the green bits. I'm gonna I just want a lid rattle, you know, just to know it's boiled, because none of that was washed particularly well. Count as a lid rattle. Okay, frying pan's now on. Bit of olive oil. I've got a feeling this would ideally be butter really, rather than olive oil, but you know, I'm here now. That ship has sailed, and in go those shallots. They are way too chunky for a risotto. If I were cooking in a restaurant, the head chef would be have me out of my ear for that. While that's doing its thing, without letting that burn, I'm going to quickly open this bottle of Dermot Sugrue's Trouble with Dreams. You've seen this before, I think, probably on here. Needs no introduction. Previously, when I was cooking that tapas under a tarp, I had the Risotto version. This is the regular version, standard amount of sugar. I don't know, probably 8 grams a litre or whatever the standard dosage is, something like that. And this, I think, is wonderful. Bitter lemon, complexity, umami, all the good stuff. Now then, if you'll excuse the abomination of those very thuggishly chopped shallots. That's not a phrase you'll hear often. This is going to be a start with a basic risotto bianco. So I don't know if this is the proper chefy way to do it. What I've always done is put the rice in at this stage. One of the key things is splash of white wine, or in this instance, rather indulgent use of Dermot Sugrue's handiwork. Let that deglaze a little bit. Put myself up when I'm at it. So what one does apparently with the risotto, this is how I learned it, is gradually add the stock, and the stock should be kept pretty warm as well. Ideally you'd have that on another hob, so you're not sort of pouring in tepid or cold stock every time. Can we attempt to do another pour? Trouble is, it's a really very much a two-handed operation getting the stock into there if one doesn't want to burn one's hands in the process. There we go. There's a little bit of the stock going in there. Let the rice gradually absorb that, and when most of the liquid disappears, another splash goes in. Oops, I think some stray vegetables went in there, but that's okay. So that's current state of the risotto. I did try a bit of with the rice just now. It's still very, very on the al dente side, but it's getting there. Well, the last the water's gone in, so I might as well put the greenery in too now. And let's hope the rice cooks. Final touch is to grate a bit of parmesan. You may remember this incredibly cute tiny grater from previous Tweedy Outdoor videos. I can't remember which one it was. Was it maybe Seven Sisters, something like that? I can't remember. That can just get dumped in there, in theory. Some good heap, whatever the term is, of parmesan. Yeah, I think we got there in the end. The rice now seems to be cooked. That is the finished article. Tweedy Outdoors is risotto primavera. I guess it's a asparagus, broad bean and pea risotto cooked in a muddy ditch. Shall we do a quick taste test? That rice is nicely cooked now. Try a bit of the very overpriced asparagus. which I've also overcooked in the end. That is very good. The parmesan at the end, really important for sort of balancing the whole thing, because it's got a fair amount of wine in it, so that adds a sort of tartness to the dish, and the flavour of the shallots can be a little bit overpowering. Perhaps put too many in. But the parmesan at the end gives it sort of sweetness, creaminess, really rounds the whole thing off. Thought I'd share with you the ambience where I'm currently sitting. Sort of a bog, really, isn't it? Thank you. Well, I have finished the risotto anyway. That was good. It got if I'm honest, a tiny bit tedious towards the end, but broadly, I think that was considering the the cooking apparatus I had available, a reasonably well executed risotto. I've decided to pack up my things and say goodbye to my little spot in the swamp there, in the muddy ditch, and it's impressively just after 8 o'clock, and yet still some light. I mean, it's fading a bit, and probably the GoPro is struggling with the stabilization, as it tends to when the light goes a bit. Sorry if this is shaky, but I'm gonna go and perhaps find a nicer spot to sit for what little daylight is left. Cheers then. Risotto in a ditch. It was a pleasant evening out, and it's great that it's gone 8 o'clock. Still not dark. Wonderful this time of year, as the days start to get longer. So thank you very much for watching. I hope some part of that made for kind of viewable content. I guess if you've got to the end, it probably did, or you're just desperately bored. So yes, next time you're down in the dumps, I recommend go and find yourself a ditch and cook a risotto. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.